Morning. Morning, folks. Happy Thursday. Hope everybody is well. Dill, John, Silver. Hope you guys are okay. Trading all right. 1 second, sorry. Well, I got the email through. Hold on, let me turn off this light 1 second. So I got the email through this morning. Morning, James, from my mortgage provider. Just annoys me every time I see how much I've paid and then how much the actual principal amount has come off and how much I'm paying in interest. So that's always a lovely email to get. So I was just like, Jesus, these bastards taking so much money off this house. It's unbelievable. Anyway, what can you do? Can't do any other way unless I earn a lot of money from my trading to pay off my mortgage. That would be lovely, wouldn't it? Anyway, so good little period yesterday on Euro Yen. If I go into Euro Yen, I made the decision to close it on account of, well, it's coming down a little bit. Maybe it's a good decision, but we'll see. I saw the evening star on this hourly chart, and to be honest, with how price action looked, right? And I always worry a little bit when price action starts to get a little bit climactic at the end of a healthy trend, right? So this trend is lovely. I mean, that is textbook strong trend to the upside, okay? But when we get to here, right, and again, like I said, a little bit climactic, I just worry about a move to the downside. And when I was looking at the daily, you know, I was just thinking that we've had a great move. You know, it's not like I'm closing out early. I'm taking a very good profit from here to basically the top of structure there, and happy getting out with, what was it, 7.6, is that right? 7.8%. So it just shows you, and I think this is such a great lesson in the shit of the last few months, right? In that two trades, essentially these two trades have made up for 3 months of negative trading. You know, in terms of year to date, you know, as I said, I'm 12.4. That's not including June. I understand I've got 2 trades down, but, you know, as we've seen, things can flip quickly. So, you know, in terms of year to date, 12.4. And if I can come out of June with 1% or 2, I'm actually online for a 30 rather than a 20. Yeah, okay, there's still long things to go, but there's other things that I can think about is that, you know, the aggressive is there. You know, there's potential for big trades within that aggressive strategy. There's potential that towards the end of the year, I might be changing my trade management where, you know, a 7.8 turns into a 15 or whatever it is. So it's all very exciting. And I'm not saying the market's going to be great. The market, I think, you know, things are still going on. We've got CPI data out tomorrow, which will be important for the inflation point of view. So I don't think trading is going to be easy for this year. But, you know, it just shows you that you have to be patient. This is why patience is such a big thing, where if I'd done silly things leading to that point, you know, I wouldn't be 12.4% up in terms of a monthly at the moment. So again, things change so quickly, and you don't expect when they're going to happen. You just have to trust that they will happen. So ending on May on 9.3 is just, for me, is it doesn't really feel like I should be there, but I'm there. It doesn't really feel like I should be 12.4. And, you know, if Kiwi Swiss ends up being a decent trade, you know, and I again, like, I end up with a 1 or 2, you know, I'm getting to a place that I'm perfectly happy to be 6 months into the year. So, yeah, I mean, it's nice, and I think it's good for certainly newer traders or you guys to see that. You know, I always say this too shall pass, and yes, it gets frustrating, but there's a reason why we maintain that discipline, and those 2 trades are the exact reason why. I mean, that for me is trading right there. You know, all this, and then right there, that's trading for me. So good, 9.3, I'm very happy with that, and we move on and hopefully continue to grind our way up that ladder into wherever we go. We are approaching summer. Summer is sometimes quite difficult. The saying "sell in May and go away" is sometimes prevalent, but doesn't mean you can't make money over it. But we'll see what summer brings this year. Okay, the markets today. SPX is still within this structure, right? We didn't really have a reaction in the morning, But we did have a reaction from this area over the US Open. So we are continuing within this wedging. Remember, this technical perspective says that we should move to the upside because the trend or the recent trend is up. So yeah, I'm expecting the market certainly until tomorrow with I think everybody's eyes will be on that inflationary data coming out. You know, probably down here and maybe a reaction, and we continue with that vein. So I'm not going to predict the news, but what I can say is if we do get a reaction here, remember within these patterns, we normally like them to break, or the best patterns usually break 3/4 of the way through. And if we do get a push, that's kind of where we'll be. So yeah, I think the same premise applies. Morning, Aaron. The same premise applies yesterday. Looking for a reaction up here. If we get a break below, then we kind of reconsider our position. If we get a break above, you know, here now, it would look pretty good. Basically, we're looking for a break of this structure. And I'm not going to give a bias until that break occurs. But, you know, this is theoretically long. So if I had to give a bias, that would be it. But let's wait to see how it progresses. Daily perspective. You know, daily perspective, we're still getting rejection off this area. You know, you could look at this potentially as that kind of complex corrective, right? I mean, I think more so this. I think that's a better way to look at your flag, your wedge, continuation. But let's see. Let's see. The dollar. Dollar today. How's everybody's trading going, by the way? I'm conscious that sometimes I just go through my stuff and I don't ask you guys. So how is everybody's trading going? John, I know yours is going a wee bit better. Silver, I know you are unlucky. Dale, how's your trading? James, Aaron, how's your trading going? Aaron, you were starting a funded challenge, right? Let me know. Dollar. So we didn't get the follow through, right, from here. We were potentially expecting, certainly from this candle, that, you know, I was thinking, okay, maybe dollar now falls. We did get that reaction basically roughly here. So really for me, I mean, this could look quite decent. I mean, if you look at this here, it could look pretty decent for upside movement in the dollar. That would make sense to me. Hey, funny, that would make sense to me. But it's not really going to confirm that bias until a break above. Okay, so again, similar to the SPX, we're waiting for a break of structure. The fact that it's not pushed down, right, and it's got some reaction here, is a relatively good sign for the DXY. Again, data tomorrow will have an effect on that currency or on the dollar. Sorry. So there is my bias for the dollar. Break above, it looks good to the upside. Breaking close, by the way, breaking close below. Continuation short from a larger complex corrective in that dollar. London still got 20 minutes to open. You know, if we look in smaller time frames, it does look better for upside movement. You know, it does. From there, breaks above here, you know, I would certainly understand a long position. And it fundamentally would make sense. Fundamentally, dollar longs would make sense. So, again, waiting for a break of structure. Okay, Kiwi Swiss. Kiwi Swiss, the trade that I'm currently in. Look at the 4 hour. You know, we're getting nothing here. No kind of movement to the upside. We are getting rejections down, which is good to see, but we're not getting that follow through yet. So I would like to see this push on. Depending on what happens with the markets, we could just range around until tomorrow. You know, we've seen some rangy price action anyway. It could range till tomorrow, but you know, my bias is still that it looks good to the upside. You know, maybe we come down and test here, but I like where it is. And I know we have that daily 200 there, right? I know we have that daily 200. But if we do push from here, right, and I'm in the market, I may decide to potentially take that away. If we're pushing, because, you know, we've had a good period here. And if we can get a push to the upside, it may look pretty good. So I still like it. It's basically around break even. It's done nothing since we've opened it, but it's showing some rejection. We just need some follow through. And obviously it can come down. We know that. Right, setups today. Bitcoin. Bitcoin is the first one. Bitcoin here, you know, every push again is being sold into. As we've seen, we've got multiple evening stars. This latest evening star has got the volume signature that we want, increasing as the pattern progresses. Right, the digestive period from this impulse is, you know, it's there, it's digested enough for me. Yes, we've got this on the 4 hour, we're getting those impulses, but they are being sold into. So what I'm looking at, and we've got these MAs right behind. We've got the 220 right basically beside price action. So higher time frame confluence is good. Okay, I'm looking at this as it's essentially a squeeze, but call it a cup with handle, V reversal, whatever you want to call it. But we're kind of squeezing into this zone. I don't want this to break above, right? We've not really broken above. So if we can get price action coming down, and then obviously a breakout retest, it's something I would certainly look at in terms of shorting that market. I'm not looking at long it. We can kind of see that squeeze there. We have got a rejection from this impulse, you know, again, climactics being sold into. And as a bias of taking a Bitcoin short, if I get that, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Going with that overall trend. USD Mexican is one that I do like. Again, going with that overall trend, right? We're having that digestive period. We could wait a few more days. Right, so my breakout retest may not come because, you know, maybe we need a few more days digested from this latest impulse, which I would understand. I would understand that. Again, from a 4 hour perspective, it does look quite good from that latest movement in terms of ready to move. Yeah, it looks ready to move to the downside for me if we get a potential break. And sometimes with the daily, this is where you find things like this. So, you know, even though our setup, obviously looking at our setup there, it's quite nice. Right, context is good, 220 there. But when we see fakes is sometimes possibly because that daily may not quite be ready for a continued move to the downside. Doesn't mean it can't happen, right? I think it's almost ready, but this is sometimes where you get these kind of movements. So again, very similar to Bitcoin. If we break above here, I take it off. But I do like the premise of this trade. You know, I'm not saying that this can't move, right? I'm saying it could need a little bit more digestion, but it has got that rough 20 period catch up. And it could go from a daily perspective, but I wouldn't be surprised if it didn't. So a break underneath, retest, that would be good for me in USD Mexican. Breakouts, Ethereum is still there. Ethereum is still there, needs to come down. I don't think that was an aggressive entry for me. It's getting you know, I need this to come down for a proper breakout rather than aggressive. But it's still there, still continuing. Need a little bit of push to the downside. Accumulation for a breakdown. Ethereum still looking at that. Aussie CAD on a daily, I'm still looking at this as well. Coming down, still got a little bit to go before I'm interested in shorting it, obviously from this larger pattern, so not going to go into that, but still looking at it short, Aussie CAD. Now, on the opposite end of the spectrum, Aussie dollar. So I know I'm thinking positivity, but this is something that's kind of looking out. The 200 may be an issue, okay? But I'm seeing a head and shoulders here at the top of structure. So we did talk about this yesterday where I'm thinking, well, maybe we could look at this. Yeah, I understand that. But context is now potentially here for an Aussie dollar short. So it's not ready yet. It would need some accumulation, yeah. And it probably wouldn't come until tomorrow where that data is coming out. But for me, if I get a setup, you know, normally if it's FOMC or NFP, I might not take something, or certainly on smaller time frames. But with CPI, I understand inflation's a big issue, but it's not something that would stop me taking a potential trade in this. So yeah, that head and shoulders could be coming tomorrow. Could be coming tomorrow. My worry is, and I put it counter trend because for me it is counter trend, right? The issue, there's two ways to look at it. One is a fake out, right? We go with that kind of overall trend, move to the downside. The second is we've got our V reversal here, and we might come down and pull back into this before continuing up. So it's one that I'm not massively comfortable with, but I'm going to watch anyway in terms of Aussie dollar short, because a dollar long bias I still kind of like. So let's wait and see on Aussie dollar. And finally, Euro pound. Euro pound. I'm recording this, right? Yeah, I'm recording it. So Euro pound is now starting to set up pretty nicely, actually. You know, the favorite kind of secondary structure or handle structure for me is always the head and shoulders. So we've got that now. Looking for this to push up. Obviously, we will need another reload from this latest impulse in the 4 hour. Not ready. I would need something like this to get me in because I'm not going to take a break on these kind of movements. Daily does look good. Daily does look good. Confluence is still there with a euro pound long. Just waiting for that to set up properly. So euro pound long I kind of like, but got a wee bit to go. A wee bit to go. So, yeah, in a nice position. A nice position. We may, as I said, with this market, we may just be waiting. We may be waiting for that inflationary data to come out. But let's see. Let's see. Right, anything you want me to look at? I believe EFO asked about gold, right? Gold longs. Let's have a look at gold. Gold longs, I'm not a fan of, EFO. I'm not a massive fan of, I have to say. I've put my I was kind of putting my area there for potential shorts in gold. I.e. from this. A, B, C. Right, from movement A, B, C, movement back down in terms of break of B. That would be more my bias than gold longs. Would I be surprised if gold moved to the upside? Fundamentally, gold is obviously a little bit of an inflation hedge. It does have that correlation with the dollar as well. So for me, fundamentally, it gets a little bit confusing analyzing where this could go. And from a daily perspective, you know, it looks more short than long. Of course it does. It definitely looks more short than long. But you could look at, you could look at this. But, you know, my eyes don't go to gold longs. I look at this chart and I think, how can I short it? And that's probably my best take on it. How can I get involved in gold shorts and going with that longer term trend? That's why I put this in here, because I was thinking, well, if I can get a setup potentially at B wave, I would take it short. So, yeah, I mean, I don't see what other bias you have for gold longs from a technical perspective. You know, apart from this, maybe the 200 is dynamic and 20 is dynamic on the daily. It's kind of holding that area, right? 20 period potentially starting to, if I zoom in here, 20 period potentially starting to kind of curl over would be your other argument. But gold long wouldn't really take for me unless we break above that 1870 level, really. And then maybe I would understand the bias, but not right now. Not right now for me. But I could be wrong. Could be wrong. All right, guys, anything else you want me to look at before I head off? Any trades are in? Anything you'd like to share with the group? I realize I go very dark when I move that away. There we go. Nada? All right. Well, that'll be it today. A short 20-minute stream. I think that's always good to do. We don't have to spend hours on the charts. We don't need it. So enjoy your day. Trade safe. And I'll see you all in the morning. Peace.